go buy in Townsville.
What we are trying to do, help you make better financial decisions.
And it's a hotter market. There are BAs there that are buying.
Outperformance in output, in activity, means outperformance in employment.
I would be surprised if I can't go to the market and pick it up, get it for 450.
Some of the best markets in Australia are actually in regional markets right now. This changes depending on the time you ask, and right now there are two golden regional markets that you should be paying attention to if you're looking to make good returns through your property investment. We're going to go through it again. Adi, how are you, my man?
I'm good, man. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I'm pumped by this. But I also realize that I'm going to be pissing some people off. I've been doing so much of this recently. I'm starting to cop a little bit of heat and hate from others in the industry. Adi, we're making some waves here because people are a little bit upset that we are pointing the finger and showing people exactly where to look. And they're getting pretty upset because they know that I'm sitting in a pretty position here at Flint and know that I see a lot of contracts and I just share stories of what people are doing. And apparently I'm not supposed to do that, man.
Honestly, man, there's become a culture in the industry where there's a lot of gatekeeping happening. We sort of spoke about this in a recent podcast, right? There's a lot of gatekeeping. Everyone thinks it's intellectual property because they're buying in Rockhampton and Townsville. Come on. I mean, my dad's not super versed with like real estate right now, but he would know to buy there, right? So there's this culture, I think, where we are potentially making waves is that we don't want to we don't have that culture in our team. We want to be educational first, value first. We want to put ourselves forward, and we'll tell you if this is a good market for you to buy in, provided your circumstances. Because there's much more to a buyer's agency just pointing at a market. It's not the asset, it's the deal. There's a lot more value there that we provide than just being hey, go buy in Townsville.
Adi, I'm going to go one step further than you. Let's go further. If you want to take this research that we're presenting to you in this episode and in the range of episodes that we've covered different areas to look at, and you want to go and buy something for yourself, congratulations. That is exactly what we are trying to do. Help you make better financial decisions. If it pisses some buyer's agent off or some property course people off because less people are using their course because they can get this stuff for free, I do not care. If it helps you make better decisions, then we are doing our job. You do not need to use us. We are not providing any of this and saying you must use Flint Investor or Liar Property. You don't need to use us. You can make your own decisions and go and make great property purchases yourself. It obviously takes a lot of work, a lot of time, and you need a fantastic team around you. Adi is fantastic. I am saying that, but there are plenty of options there available too. But really, the aim here is spirit of transparency. And we need to talk about this because there's more and more coming in with the craziest principles and the craziest ideas. Must use my mortgage broker, must use my accountant. We must gatekeep where we purchase. Can't tell anybody. It's got to be a lockdown secret. Otherwise, people won't use us. That's what's happening more and more at the moment. People are getting greedy. That is what it is. It is greedy. It is no longer in the interest of you. It is in the interest of them. So I'm going to just give you a direct call out. If you are in this position working with somebody doing stupid, really greedy ass stuff like this that is not in your interest, leave. There are better decisions there. And if somebody gatekeeps it and says it must be my way or the highway, that is not in your interest. It is dangerous to give any one individual, any one company that much power over your financial future. Now that I've said all that, let's get back into happy mode.
Damn,
what do you think,
you
man?
came in firing today. I couldn't agree more. I love it, man. There is the number of phone calls that I'm now getting from people who are just coming from bigger agencies where they feel like the usual, I feel like a number. I haven't heard from them in 4 months. They're forcing me to use their mortgage broker, but I've been working with a mortgage broker for 8 years. How can I just let go of that because I don't know what this team is like? It's just... There's this culture of gatekeeping, not just about markets, but also about everything has to be in-house. Like it makes me feel uncomfortable when I listen to these guys. I empathize with what their experience must have been like, especially when you haven't heard from these people in 4 months. They've taken the engagement fee 4 months ago, but they haven't heard from you, right? Or you haven't heard from them. And then on top of that,
too.
it's becoming so systemic in this industry that has grown, I think, probably a little too quickly.
Size.
Really, the BA industry has exploded in the last 5 years, right? There's a lot of BAs going around.
Yeah. Size
So-
can breed arrogance and greed,
can.
unfortunately. So some of that is happening. But let's circle to the number one location, number one regional market. Maybe we'll add in a bonus. I got a little bonus. If you've watched this far, we're going to add in a third little bonus. This one's going to really piss people off. But let's start with number one. We've got Mildura here on
It
list.
is Mildura. So let me give you a little context of Mildura. So I personally bought in Mildura back in June. Okay, back in June 2024. Now, 8 months when it comes to property cycles that is being dominated by buyers agents and investors, that's a long time. That's a whole cycle in itself sometimes. So when I was in June, when I was looking for properties in June, there was a plethora of them available, right? There was plenty of them. I remember the one that I bought, low 300s. There is no low 300s properties in Mildura anymore. That's the first thing.
Really?
Yeah. There's nothing like that in
What do you
Mildura.
think it's worth?
So I got it for 341 at the end. It's a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, the usual
Very
800 square meter block. I would be surprised if I can't go to the market and pick it up for, get it for 450. If someone won't pay me 450 for it. Honestly. Like I would be really surprised.
Wow.
Maybe I'll have to put a lick of paint in there, maybe like 10 grand worth of paint and carpets or
Just
something.
freshen it up a little bit.
But yeah, it's
That's
just,
amazing.
it's a 450 return. Like the rent is 450, so the yields are there, so the holding costs are more manageable. There's a lot of things happening there that just sort of tick the boxes for a regular investor. They don't want to be too negatively geared. All of that stuff is there. So if I talk about why I picked Mildura 8 months or 9 months ago now.
Tell us the reason. Let's go through it.
Because I started seeing that data play out, right? Some of the economic changes that are happening in Mildura, the
Love that
unemployment rate, it's dropping. The infrastructure spend, there's spending happening in the healthcare sector. The hospital is booming. More doctors are coming in. More nurses are coming in. It is one of the biggest agricultural sort of suburbs of Australia. Like there's a lot of things going for it.
Some stuff comes out of Mildura, right?
Yeah, like all the oranges. There's a lot of stuff happening
them.
there.
Yeah.
And honestly, I went there in January. It's a beautiful place. I know that doesn't translate to data. It's a gorgeous place. The Murray River's there. It's on the border of New South Wales. It's had stuff going for it. But then you sort of look at the affordability factor, right? So one of the things that I loved about Mildura, I was like, gosh, it's in the current interest rate environment, you've got a affordability index of 29.
I think you might be on Griffith there, buddy.
That one's Griffith. It's 29. There you go.
And there you are.
You have like Hawkeye vision. It's really strange.
Yeah.
I got
the 2020 vision.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah,
a month ago,
that's
6 months before I met you. That's why.
yeah. So
those that know
29.
me, they knows that I wear glasses well, Adi, but
Really?
that's
You don't
gone.
wear
So,
them anymore?
I got some crazy surgery thing that made me
There you go. Someone else's
vision
eyes.
Yeah,
That's cool.
It's a bit creepy. Anyway, go on.
It is a bit creepy. 29, right? So that is a phenomenal result.
Pretty
for
good.
A regional market that's growing. It's got 30,000 population. I loved it, and I saw this back in June of last year, and I was looking for something affordable, something to put my money into. But now you go into Mildura, and it's a hotter market. There are BAs there that are buying, and it's very interesting because obviously, over the last 9 months, I've built up a bit of a network in Mildura. Shout out Lucas, shout out Connor. These guys are these guys are people I work with for the last 9 months, right?
We'll send them this podcast.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. And then they're telling me that some of the properties that are coming through the door, because obviously as a market becomes hotter and hotter, it's a bit of a nugget for you guys. The properties that are going to come through the door are not going to be as nice. They're not ticking all the boxes, but you start to make compromises. You're like, doesn't matter if it's a little bit closer to the housing commission area than we want. It's okay. It's a bit closer to the railway line because, there's not enough stock available, right? That's part of the reason it's growing so rapidly is that there's just not enough stock. But it's very interesting because I'm through the grapevines, right? Through, all the network that I have, I'm hearing about buyers agents, big buyers agents, buying stock that I had rejected 2 weeks earlier because I'm like, I don't like the configuration of this block.
Yep.
I don't care if it's an 800 square meter block, but it's in the shape of a trapezium looking, I don't even know what it is. I don't think there's a word for this shape. So I'm like, okay, so there are compromises being made by some of these bigger BAs. They've picked the right market. That's great. But then their asset selection is a little bit dicey. So I'm a big fan of Mildura, Red. Stock is becoming a little bit harder to find, to be honest. We're still seeking property there for clients at the moment.
Yes.
In the affordable price bracket, that 500K and under. But yeah, look, I'm a big fan. Like I said, I'll put my money there myself. I've got two places there now.
I love that.
And my
one
partner
more
and I are
story
very
to
happy.
that.
Yeah,
one
tell
more
me.
story to that predates some of that investment.
Yes.
The growth story, Mildura, you're going at, so Mildura's growth state product, like how much output it's producing is firing. It's well and truly ahead of the natural sort of gross state product growth rate for Victoria, for New South Wales, for South Australia. It's on the border-ish of all three.
Correct.
It is outperforming everywhere around it, but it's a regional market. That is what you want to see. Outperformance in output, in activity, means outperformance in employment, because when you start doing stuff, you need people. When you start getting outperformance in output, you get more people, you get more jobs. When you get more jobs, you get more housing demand. Then investors start seeing that data and more people come through. Those are the transmission mechanisms of a house price growth cycle, and outperformance, like Adi has just delivered for himself. Congratulations. That is pretty freaking amazing.
Thank you.
And also, one of the real fun things of my new job with you at Alaya, this is absolutely my favorite thing. I've always loved deals. Deals has always been like the fun part of property, looking at property investments, putting my lens on it, seeing if it's good or not. So there's the element of the economic change directing where to look, but now we sit there and we approve every single property transaction, property deal by the numbers, looking at whether it makes sense or not. And then adding in I've done like 30, 40 deals in my life now, adding in the same lens as to, hey, this negotiation is a good one or it's not, and just putting it into a yes, no sort of basket at a certain value level and being like, it works or it doesn't. That is just the best bit about being a buyer's agent.
100%.
Like, this is fun, man.
And I think you've done 30, 40 deals across, in my personal journey, I've done quite a few across my client journeys. I've done, 30, 40, 50, I don't know how many deals we're up to now. But
a lot of experience.
What that experience does is it helps you spot value that others are just
100%.
not seeing, right?
Yeah.
Shout out, James. I know you're watching this, man. You love this podcast, so thank you for watching. But we're going through a deal process with James at the moment, right? A really fantastic opportunity in Mildura. Actually, even I can't believe this opportunity exists. It's in one of the best parts of Mildura. It's super affordable as a price point. Needs a little bit of work, but that's okay. But it's up to us to recognize that value.
Sure.
You can't do that if you've just entered the industry 6 months ago, having no experience in property. Yep. How do I trust you to know what is a valuable asset, right? Yep. That's it's 20 years of experience playing out in what we're doing now in Alaya property.
For sure.
And it's just exciting. It's very, very cool.
It is. All right, now that we've nailed that, let's go into market number 2. This one popped up in my data metrics as well when we looked at it through our research team, and we're doing a YouTube video of it. So anyone who's watched this would have heard of this, because I got excited. I was looking at this being like, Griffith has it's exciting, man. Run me through it. You own in Griffith.
I do own in Griffith. So
far out. You're the whiz. Adi's the whiz. Now, this isn't a pump of Adi's suburbs. That's not really the point. It's a suburb deep dive, and Adi's looking into it. And we like buying in markets, ourselves that feel comfortable with where we're presenting anything to clients. So, tell me about Griffith.
Look, I'm a huge fan of Griffith. I bought in Griffith back in 2015, right? It was entering its cycle at the time. So my 280K property became 400 very quickly, right? I bought it in 2015. By 2017, it was worth in the 400s. It then, as market cycles do, it went into a bit of a lull. It sort of went through its sort of slow growth cycles, but I can see it happening again. So I helped my partner, Rona, shout out Rona. I helped my partner buy there about 18 months ago for 255, right? There is no property in Griffith for 255 anymore. So she can,
is it a house?
It is a house, 3
wow.
bedroom, one bath. I think it was a 2 bath, maybe. I don't even remember these days, to be honest. But it's just the numbers are like spreadsheet set.
Well done, Rona.
Yeah, well done,
Nailed
Rona. It's mine though. So, but it's sort of getting into that new cycle. And I know what excites you more than anything else. Obviously, they're the deals, but it's the economic output, man. It's like 1.8% unemployment rate.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is that? It's half the national average, right?
Yep. Again, why though? It's running at 3 times the economic activity in terms of what Griffith is producing. 3 times, or at least 2 times the national sort of average over the last few years. We've grown as a country a few percentage points in that time, low growth environment that we've operated in. Griffith's at 10% over 3 years. Yep. Amazing. Like, it's growing. It's a growing economy, doing really well. And now it's got no unemployment because, there's not enough people there to take up and do all this extra work that's required.
And man, it's just like you look at, and then you start, I know you like the macro stuff, I love the micro stuff. I am a huge fan of vacancy rates. Just like, there's just not enough rental stock available. So, so Rona started her She bought it for 255. I think the rent was 270. It was woefully under.
Yep.
We're now sitting at 380, 18 months on, right?
Yeah,
and it's still under, I would say. But throwing a lick of paint, change the carpets again, I would probably be in the 400. So there's a lot of opportunity in Griffith. I have a wonderful network, having bought there myself, having bought for clients. I have an amazing network in Griffith now. I know we can find some absolute amazing off-market deals in markets like this.
Pretty cool, man.
It is very cool, man. I think part of my job, right? Part of this, finding deals, is establishing those relationships over a long period of time.
Yes,
I love building trust at scale as well, building rapport.
Yep.
I've done that. I'm now training our team to do that as well.
Yep.
So honestly, if there's anyone out there, whether you use us or not, I don't care. I don't mind. But Mildura and Griffith are fantastic opportunities. Now, you will have a little bit of trouble.
Points.
Yeah, great budget points. Yep. Griffith, it's a little bit higher than the Milduras of the world. You're probably looking at the mid 500s to low 500s. The yield is probably not as attractive as Mildura. You're probably looking at the 4.5% to 5% versus the 5% plus. But again, if you buy it well, if you have the network, you can find deals like this. But it doesn't matter if you use us or not. The key thing is, do your research. Now we've told you where to buy. Now good to go. Do your research about where in Griffith is a good idea. I like the hospital area. You attract a lot of nurses and doctors. There's ways to filter through the noise.
100%.
If there are 10 deals there's really only one that's worth looking at. So find a way to get good at that. And in 12 months' time, I think you'll be very happy with your decision.
I love it. Let's give everyone one last bonus one. And I'm putting you on the spot here. You might need to get on your computer really quickly. Third area to look at is Shepparton. Another area that looks pretty good on the data as well. And it's starting to pop up as an area that you want to be looking at too. Again, similar sort of frameworks to the other two that we've just talked about. It's got really strong data-centric numbers there that suggests that it's going to have a pretty good run in the short term. Adi, want to go through it at really high level?
I'm really curious. How did you even learn about Shepparton? I know it's something we've been recently talking about. We haven't actually approached that market yet. It's something we're building our relationships and we have been. You kind of, I love transparency, man, but this is like you're literally giving secrets away now. Okay, so we are looking at Shepparton as a business. Yes. What I love about Shepparton, affordable price points, right? So part of I guess what my ethos is, the culture that I want to build at a layer property, is that we're sort of open to people who have a wide range of budgets, right? There's people in the 400s, there's people in the 700s, there's people in the 500s, right?
I do a couple in the millions. So I get it.
You've done stuff in the millions. So I want to be, I don't necessarily want to niche down into a very specific high income bracket sort of buyer's agency. That's not who I was. 10 years ago when I started my portfolio journey, I was a $60,000 earning grad at my ex-corporate job. Yep. I know what it takes to sort of build up a portfolio, build your income, etc. So we are open to sort of different opportunities. When we talk about affordable price points, obviously you have to make some compromises. There are some compromises that you potentially have to make around potentially not being a metro market. You're taking a step into the regional town, but you have seen the performance of these towns be just as good, if not better, like Mildura, Griffith. They've well outperformed the Melbourne markets as in the Melbourne Metro, Sydney markets, right? So I love it. I'm a huge fan of it. You're probably looking at a property, in the 400s, 440, 450, probably even low 400s if you know really what you're doing.
Yep.
The key here is the market hasn't quite heated up yet. In the next 12 months, you're going to see a very different Shepparton to what you're seeing right now.
Yes.
This is my Mildura of 9 months ago. So it's a pretty big nugget out there for you.
Yeah, something to look at.
5.5% yield on purchase.
Yes.
Okay, so again, there are opportunities out there that might be in the 4s, but you're picking it up cheaper because, they haven't increased their rent. So there are tactics and strategies that you can employ to still find really, really good deals that might start off a little bit sort of under the yield that you want, but don't let that stop you. That's not the point.
Love it.
Don't have that big picture thinking going behind it.
Love it.
Very similar makeup to Mildura as well. Very affordable. Very, very, very affordable in terms of its income to price ratio.
Yep.
Locals earn well enough to very much afford the properties.
Yep.
So it has that growth aspect
What's
to it.
its vacancy rate story?
Vacancy rates in mid ones, which is not bad.
Amazing.
And what I like about it, it's coming down.
Perfect.
In the last 12 months, it has, I don't know what the degree of that incline is. It's looking like 45 degrees or whatever it is. It's starting to come down.
It's exactly what you want to see in terms of the data sets.
Correct.
I think from this perspective, the point of this was to, one, tell you that there are a whole range of markets that don't need to be the big name markets that you know about. We've talked about Darwin, of all places, in this channel fairly regularly. And if anyone's watched our channel from the beginning, you'll know that I said Darwin. Why would you invest there? It is adapting to the information and the economics of an area, which does change over time. You cannot be static with this. You have to read where markets are at different points in time, and that will help frame your investing journey. It does not make sense to buy in many parts of Adelaide. We covered that on different podcasts. It doesn't make sense to buy in many parts of Perth anymore. And even in Brisbane, where the yield is so low, the yields have compressed so much. Meanwhile, in other areas, it's a completely different story where there's more activity happening right now and demand is rising and supply is coming down. The nature of this is keep an open mind to where you should look and change your answer as the data changes. This is probably the economics lens coming in. I have no problem saying I'm wrong sometimes, but the reality is it's being wrong at the right times and being right at the right times. Timing is everything here, and it's about understanding which markets are going to do well at a particular point in time. And again, if you feel trapped by certain circumstances, by greed, essentially, by the end of that's the word for it, then there are other opportunities out there. You can go do it yourself. This is the roadmap. It's a spotlight. It should really help you make some decisions. This is kind of the wrap up of a series of videos that we have done recently, pointing the spotlight at different areas. Adi, my man, he's a legend through all of this. He's been sharing the wisdom he's got from Alaya all throughout. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.